So right now, the AFC conference is as tough as it's been in a long time, mainly because of the quarterbacks that are within the AFC. When you take a look around, you have Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. You have Lamar Jackson, and now who kind of emerged in 2022, and that's Trevor Lawrence. And I'm actually wearing my Pro Bowl hat. I got this one in 2019 at the Pro Bowl in Orlando, doing that, representing our guy Trevor Lawrence, who competed and the flag football tournament and all different other stuff that went on last weekend. And, when you look at Trevor Lawrence and you look at the AFC South in general, the AFC South right now is bad when it comes to quarterbacks. The AFC South is not very good. Right now, the Jaguars have by far the easiest road in any AFC team to win their division because the Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence, who looks like he has emerged and looks like he's arrived at kind of one of the upper, maybe a tier 2 quarterback. I mean, I feel like when I'm kind of ranking tiers of NFL quarterbacks, I have to put Mahomes in tier 1. I think it's a gap. And I think it's Burrow and Josh Allen just because they've done it a few years. And I think in that next tier, Trevor Lawrence can kind of be in there because I think he has to do a little bit more than have a half a season of success. But nevertheless, Trevor Lawrence right now is the only quarterback in the AFC South. When you look around the AFC South, the Texans don't have a quarterback, the Colts don't have a quarterback, and the Titans don't have a quarterback. And right now, all their teams' YouTubers are sitting here talking about what the heck they're going to do a quarterback while I'm sitting here making videos on new uniforms and stadium upgrades because we don't have those pressing issues at the moment. We're talking about re-signing a tight end and a right tackle. It's just our issues are far less than what's going on with the coaching searches. I mean, all those guys have been a lot of stuff going on now. Like like I said, all these different teams are going to be making moves at quarterback at some point this offseason. Really, the big thing is, are they going to draft or are they going to maybe sign somebody? So in this video, we're going to talk about each team in order of their draft spot when it comes to kind of an outlook on what their quarterback situation might look like next season. Now, first, we're going to go on with the Houston Texans, who were pretty much who we thought they were last year. We all thought they were going to be pretty bad, and they were bad. They held the number 1 pick pretty much the whole entire year. They finished the year 13-1. But salute to them. They had a winning record in the AFC South. 3 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie against AFC South teams. And what is it? 0-12 or 0-11 against the rest. So they brought their A game against the AFC South, but they had the number 1 pick the entire time. And then Lovie Smith wanted to give the Texans one big FU on the way out and decided to convert like a 4th and 15 for a touchdown, him and Davis Mills. It was hilarious, and it moved the Texans from number 1 to number 2. I believe it boosted up the Colts draft pick, who they were actually playing that game. And Lovie Smith was fired the next day. Subsequently fired the next day. It was the word I was looking for. And now, the number 1 pick was given to the Bears, and now the Texans has the number 2 pick. So they're definitely going to be able to have a lot of good options at quarterback, but now they aren't sitting here guaranteed to get their guy because other teams might move up with the Bears because the Bears already have their quarterback. Now, currently on the roster, the Texans have Kyle Allen, Jeff Driscoll, and Davis Mills. Davis Mills was the only real investment. They invested a 3rd-round pick in him in 2020, but you get the feeling that they feel like they can upgrade from him. And, especially with the top draft pick, they'll get their choice of a bunch of different guys. Before I made this video, I was looking around at different mock drafts, and they're all over the place, man. But it looks like there's a consensus like top 3 guys, and that's CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Will Levis. And kind of the wild card pick is Anthony Richardson because Anthony Richardson has some of the best traits. I mean, when he drops back, he just looks like a big, powerful quarterback, and his ceiling is by far the highest. It's just, he's erratic. He's got some accuracy issues. He's going to be able to read a defense. I mean, he's a true developmental prospect. So, I don't think he's going to go number 2, but So one of these guys are going to be quarterback. I'm hoping that it's Bryce Young, if I'm being honest, because look, Bryce Young is extremely undersized, and I don't think like when it comes to an undersized quarterback, like I think you're able to play in the NFL and make all the throws and stuff like that. But the issue with being a small quarterback is around like you're noticing the trend of if you're undersized, you're getting hurt like crazy. I mean, we've seen it with Kyler Murray. Even Lamar Jackson is a little bit slight when it comes to his body frame, and he's been hurt a lot. Tua's been dealing with injuries, and I think just it's out there that look, these guys can play at a very high level, but if you don't keep them clean, they're very, very close to breaking in a sense. And when your quarterback is in and out, injured, not injured, I mean, that could be the whole entire difference. I mean, the Jags were 9-8 this year. We were that close to missing the playoffs. And if Trevor Lawrence misses 2 or 3 games, we're probably not in it. And you want that continuity at the position because everybody else plays around it plays better too. So yeah, we'll be monitoring that. I think they probably, if they get their pick, I think they probably go with CJ Stroud if I'm forecasting correctly. So I will say the Texans have an extremely bright future. I mean, they have the number 12 pick from the Browns this year. I don't know why I can't speak very well today. Number 12 pick from the Browns this year through the Deshaun Watson trade. They also had their 3rd round pick this year. And they also have the Browns 2024 first round pick as well. So they're loaded with draft capital right now. They have their new head coach in DeMeco Ryans, so a lot of good vibes around him, kind of a homecoming for him. He says that the Houston Texans job is his dream job. And look, now it feels like they're finally recovering from just everything that happened over the course of the last few years. I mean, Bill O'Brien had way too much power, made some crazy trades, and really diminished the roster. Also, Deshaun Watson doing all the stuff that he did, really, it's just set the whole entire franchise back. But, now I think they ended this 2022 season on a good note. Now they can move forward with all this draft capital, a lot of money. I mean, they could make a real improvement this next year and maybe get 7 to 8 wins next year if they if some good things happen to them. So the Texans, yeah, they're in a pretty good spot right now. Of the next 2 teams, I think they're in the best spot. Now, the number 4 overall pick belongs to the Indianapolis Colts. They were supposed to be pretty good last year. They were supposed to make a run, but they were extremely disappointing. And they're not used to the whole don't have a quarterback thing, man. From 1998 to 2018, they had no issues at quarterback. They had Peyton Manning, then Peyton Manning, went over and turned into Andrew Luck over time. And then Andrew Luck abruptly retired in August of 2019. And it left them in a very, very tough situation where, hey, we got to start Brissett this year, but it's fine. We'll get a new guy next year. They got Philip Rivers, and Philip Rivers helped lead them to the playoff spot in 2020. However, Philip Rivers retired after that year. He was done. In 2021, they were like, we are going to recover Carson Wentz and bring him back to MVP form, which he was a half a decade ago. Actually, it was only like 3 years ago before then, but that didn't work out. I mean, yeah, Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz, not a very good quarterback. And in 2022, they said, oh, it's okay. We'll bring out an old man, Matt Ryan, and he was an MVP one time. He'll be great for us, but he was awful for them. And now they're in a situation where, look, they finally have a high draft pick, picking number 4 overall. And look, they're not gonna be dipping their toes in the free agency bucket anymore. I mean, they're not gonna go after Rodgers. They're not gonna go after Derek Carr. No Jimmy G. I mean, they'll probably sign I don't know if Matt Ryan's sticking around, but they'll have a veteran bridge quarterback. Maybe they keep Nick Foles around. I'm not sure, but they're going to be drafting a guy. I mean, they have the number 4 overall pick. So one of these 4 quarterbacks I mentioned are going to fall to them. There's a very good chance that maybe they even trade up to number 1 pick, which I love seeing. I mean, there's a lot of reports that they will look to trade up to number 1, and even the Texans are looking to trade up to number 1 to secure their guy. It's nothing I love more than AFC South teams cannibalizing each other to get the quarterback over each other, but that's kind of going on right now, so it's pretty entertaining to see. So really, there's 3 questions right now with the Colts. Like I said, who are they going to draft at quarterback? The next question is, will they trade up I wonder what the cost of it is, because really it's not a super sexy quarterback class, and there's no consensus number one guy. But if they do the research on all four of these quarterbacks and there's only one guy they truly like, they're going to trade up. They're going to trade up. They're not going to let it slip through their hands. Jim Irsay is getting too old. I think every year when they miss the playoffs, he goes a little bit more insane. And I think old man Jim needs to get back into good football juju. So I think that they're a very, very good candidate to trade up. And the very last question is, what's their plan? Are they going to go through a full rebuild? They have some roster decisions they made. They have a really, really overpaid and underperforming offensive line. Ballard has been the GM for a while. He's just, he's had some great mid-round draft picks, but he's really, really missed at a lot of spots too. Like I said, can't find a quarterback, can't find the, left tackle. There's a lot of wrong things that he's doing, but drafting the quarterback will definitely do everything right. But will they rebuild? I don't know what the direction of their team is, and I guess we'll see. They start cutting some guys upcoming. So yeah, the Colts and Texans, they'll definitely draft the quarterback, just a matter of who. Now the next question is the Tennessee Titans. They own pick number 11 after they completely diminished at the end of the 2022 season. I mean, I think they had like 7 straight losses. They were essentially a lock to make the playoffs at one point, with every other team in the AFC South doing bad. They were saying maybe the Colts can come back and make a run for it, but yeah, it was the Jaguars. It was always the Jags. The Jags finished 9-8, and they took that playoff spot from the Tennessee Titans in that Week 18 Saturday Night Football matchup where Josh Dobbs fumbled that ball right into Josh Allen's arms, and he returned that for a touchdown, and the rest was history. So now their thing is, look, what do they do at quarterback? Tannehill is a good quarterback, but he's not great, and he's 35 years old, and when you look around the AFC right now, you're not going to win with just a good quarterback. You've got a lot of really, really good quarterbacks to go through, including a quarterback in your own division with Trevor Lawrence not emerging. It's a tough road to win a Super Bowl with them. And I don't think Tannehill is going to be that guy. He has 1 year left on his deal. And when you look around, I mean, they drafted Malik Willis, I think, in the 3rd round. And Malik Willis, quite frankly, was just awful. He didn't look good at all. I don't think he'll be ready in 2023. He doesn't look like he's going to be able to develop into much, unfortunately, because I actually did like him a little. I was rooting for him to coming out. And then he went to the Titans, and I said, screw him. Because I don't like the Titans, but I don't think he just doesn't look any good. I don't see him turning into anything. And, it was interesting. I actually saw a tweet before I deactivated my Twitter from Ben Devine at Chicago_NFL. He said the Bears have already received offers from 2 teams for the number 1 overall pick, according to at the Bears blog, whatever that is. Quote, neither is the Texans or Colts. And then he followed that up with, update, one of the inquiring teams is the Titans, who have the number 11 pick in the draft. So I don't know how legit that is. I saw that and I thought it was interesting. But, I mean, could 3 teams in the AFC South be at play for that number 1 overall pick? Who knows? I mean, I don't know what I don't know what their plan is. Number 11 pick is really, really far away to really get any quarterback. I mean, if they stick at number 11, maybe they start looking and like number 6 pick is gone, number 7 pick is gone, and all of a sudden maybe Anthony Richardson is still there. Maybe they want to jump up to 8 and grab a guy like him. But moving all the way up to number 1, it's going to be pretty far. Now, they could get in on the whole Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo sweepstakes, or they can go bargain bin and try to get like a Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, Baker Mayfield. And they have a few different options with Ryan Tannehill. If they cut him prior to June 1, they save $17.8 million. If they cut him after, they save $27 million. And look, right now they have a new GM with Ron Carthen. So, he's going to get time, and he's not forced to all of a sudden risk everything to save his job. And it's a tough spot because they also have the fourth worst cap space in the NFL. So they're gonna have to cut some guys to save money. And much like the question I posed with the Colts, I'll pose with the Titans. Are they in a rebuild? Like, do they need to go through a rebuild? I do think that Mike Vrabel has bought himself a lot of time, and he is essentially allowed to do a rebuild. And I think the ownership will probably be a little more patient with it. I don't think it's the same with the Colts. I think Jim Irsay wants to win, and they have Chris Ballard, who's been a GM there forever. They still don't have a head coach. I mean, maybe by the time you watch this video, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, at some point, a Colts fan will find this. He'll search this video up. He'll find this. Like, what does this Jaguar guy have to say? Oh my God, look at all the bad things he said about me. Oh, we already hired a head coach. Thumbs down button. I don't ask you to do that, okay? Hit like, subscribe. Look, we're all friends. I try to give unbiased opinions where I can. But yeah, the Titans are in a situation where do they rebuild? I really don't know. I really don't know because right now, when it comes to the quarterback, they don't have the quarterback of the future. So either you risk it all this year and move up and get it, or next year, like, what do you want to do? Do you think if you don't think you're going to win the AFC South next year, and if you don't think you have the ability, then you should go through a rebuild because you don't want to, like, this is a terrible draft spot. You don't want to be not a good team and you're drafting like number 13 and you don't have a quarterback. That's not a fun situation to be in. And the Titans, like, I don't think they have the roster and the quarterback to be able to make a deep playoff run. And if you don't have, your quarterback and you're not a Super Bowl ready roster, like I said, what's the point? I am all about Team Tank. Look, in 2020, I was rooting for the Jaguars lose every game so my team can get a quarterback. I am all about tanking, and if I were a Titans fan, I would probably want to tank. I don't know. I think Titans fans will have to let me know. Let me know if you're a Titans fan watching this. What do you want the Titans to do? Because I'm actually pretty fascinated to kind of see. So, yeah, lots of question marks around the AFC South when it comes to quarterbacks outside of my Jaguars, of course. The Texans and Colts will be drafting the quarterback. You don't know what the heck the Titans are going to do. And, I think it's clear right now. Jags number 1. If I were to power rank, I would probably put the Texans at 2, just with all their resources. And it feels like they're getting a real fresh start over there. I would put the Titans at number 3 because I do like Mike Vrabel. And, I think they have a pretty decent roster. And I put the Colts at number 4 just because I just don't know what the heck they're doing. It's hard to see what they're doing. But hey, you know how these teams shoot up? Whatever team can draft a quarterback, if CJ Stroud is a superstar and one of these teams drafts him, that's going to be a difference maker. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting offseason for these teams. Maybe not necessarily the Jaguars, but hey, I've had interesting offseasons in the past with all these different head coach, coordinator searches. It's nice to focus on lesser important things. So, it's fun, man. But let me know what you guys think. This is a really, really long video. I hope you guys don't mind. With all that said, thanks for watching. Go Jags.